is up. We've been going in so long, forgot who's got it out for us. Look up in the mirror and see a diamond who got out the rough. Bitch, I made it through, that's the sight you wait to see. Cause I never needed you, like the way you needed me. Back to the basics, I finally got it, and baby, I won't let them take it. I'm destined for greatness, mixed that with some patience, and baby, you got you a star in the making, I swear. All these raindrops on my head, thought I would never see the sun again. Still remember when you said that sometimes you wish we never met. Baby, I'm still right here, angels and demons in my ear, hard to relate to all my peers, got a whole lot riding on this year, God forbid this shit don't pop, I'm a star looking at things to rob, I know it takes a lot for you to make a lot, but I gave a lot, so don't play me, God, back up in the mix, don't got time to post with pics, I'm just working on my shot until I forget how to miss, yeah, back to the basics, I finally got it, and baby, I won't let them take it, I'm destined for greatness, mixed that with some patience, and baby, you got you a star in the making. All these raindrops on my head, thought I would never see.
Welcome to WYCD Wicked, that stands for What You Can Do. It's your old pal Jake, and we have got an interesting show today. We've got Trump henchmen admitting they lied to the court. The other Trump henchmen involved at the court giving him a pass, allowing him to run even though he is a traitor. So he gets another crack at the presidency. Another opportunity to start a civil war. He gets another chance. This is what happens when you lose to Republicans. Don't lose to Republicans. And also, Republicans in general, showing their true colors, being anxious to get rid of pride flags, but not anxious to get rid of swastikas. Showing where they fall on that scale of letting people live their lives versus Nazis. They choose the Nazis. That's who they are. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about, of course, what you can do. But first, let's say hi to our buddies in the audience. Wicked Foxy Dragon, good to see you. Pinkerbell, hello. Wireless Mike, good to see you, my friend. Hold up. Let me reload this. Pitchforks Dragon. Someone posted that people over 40 shouldn't use the thumbs up emoji because it's like flirting you off. I responded with the middle fingers up emoji. I think the thumbs up is very specifically. Oh, like, I see. It's like flipping you off. I see. Yeah. It's a very platonic emoji, and it's not at all. It is it's, in my view, about half the value of the heart emoji for approval. The Anticorporatus, what's up, Jake? Good to see you. Baker's Dozen Cats, hi there. Good to see you as well. Oh, I saw somebody. Dominico, hello, my friend. Shouldn't have said that while I was scrooching in my chair. Dominico, good to see you. Oh, man, Onion Canyon Farm. I don't want to brag, but I planted a bed of lettuce today. Hi, everyone. Well, I'm glad to see you're expanding your horizons from the onions. I would be curious to hear about your farm. Genuinely, I'm a fan of such things, even though I'm not a practitioner. Closest I came was digging holes with my nephew earlier. Found a couple of trowels. We found a unsuspecting garden bed, and we had at it. Lots of holes planted. Nothing to put in them. or not lots of holes dug. Nothing to put in them yet, but we'll cross that bridge. Now, I guess we've come to it, but later. Later. Let's get to it, gang. Assuming I haven't lost the clip. I haven't. Thank you, ABC7 Eyewitness News. There we go. All right. Perjury time. It's going to shock you to hear, but somebody who worked for the Trump organization actually lied to authorities. I know. Brace yourselves. If you got pearls to clutch, I'll wait a moment for you to put them on. Okay, now clutch them. Somebody who worked for Trump lied to the courts. Didn't have any respect for the law. Just like Trump. Just like, Republicans generally. Breaking it down for us is ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Breaking news involving Donald Trump. The former chief financial officer of the Trump organization just pleaded guilty to 2 counts of perjury. He is admitting that he lied during sworn testimony during the civil fraud trial against Mr. Trump. But despite this admission, he is refusing to testify against his former boss. Eyewitness News reporter Lindsay Tuckman live outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan with the very latest. Lindsay.
David, perjury tears at the very fabric of our justice system. That's what prosecutors said this morning as Alan Weisselberg pleaded guilty to 2 felony counts of perjury. The 76-year-old former CFO.
Hold on, gang. Let me just be clear about what they skated past there. I don't think it's any knock against their reporting. They're just saying a lot in a very short amount of time. We have the pleasure of being on the internet. We can take our time. He admitted he lied. He said, yeah, I lied to you, court. I lied about the crimes I was involved with, that I went to prison for. I actually lied. He still had a strong enough case to send me to prison. But I'm not going to testify any further. I have no interest in justice. None at all. I will not help you. I will not testify further. In other words, I will not tell the truth. I'll admit I lied, but I will not tell the truth. I hope that's reflected in the sentencing. This is now a repeat offender who is demonstrating they have no respect for the laws you and I have to follow. This is a person who's offended to even be questioned. Fine, I lied. Fine, I lied. Gross peasants. No, I won't testify against my liege lord. Just because he stole from you, rabble? Now get this over with, Judge, quickly. I've got polo to get to. Give me my wrist slap. Tell me I must pay a fine that is such a small amount I take it from the drawer that I have labeled petty cash. Give me a fine that I literally consider to be petty, and then let's move on so I can get back to screwing over those gross peasants that I hate so much. I hope it's reflected in the sentencing. I hope his ass goes to prison for a long time. I do not care how old he was when we finally got him. Justice must be served.
Of the Trump family real estate company arrived this morning to this Manhattan courtroom wearing a mask and also wearing handcuffs. He admitted to misleading investigators about his knowledge of the size of the former president's Fifth Avenue penthouse apartment during sworn testimony back in May and October of last year. This all during Trump's civil fraud trial, which ended with that judge imposing a more than $450 million penalty on the ex-president for inflating his net worth to obtain more favorable loans. Weisselberg Weisselberg had previously served 3 months of a 5-month sentence at Rikers Island for tax evasion, and now it seems he will be back in jail soon. The prosecutors recommending a 5-month sentence, acknowledging that he does turn 77 in August. As for today, Weisselberg was released on his own recognizance. He does have a sentencing hearing scheduled for April 10th, which could coincide with Donald Trump being back here in Lower Manhattan for his criminal trial, that of which Weisselberg is not involved in. And we did also just receive a statement from his lawyers just now. It was short and sweet, and what they said today is Alan Weisselberg looks forward to putting this situation behind him.
Alan Weisselberg looks forward to putting this situation behind him. He's sick of playing this game. He's sick of pretending like the laws apply to him. Yeah, all right, fine. So I lied, peasants. So I lied to your courts. I'm sick of playing this game, though. I look forward to putting this whole ugly mess behind me. Can you imagine how much time you would do in prison? Not jail, not even a gross jail, but proper prison. If you stole millions from anybody for any reason. That's what we're talking about, to be crystal clear. It's a civil fraud trial, but millions were stolen. When Donald Trump, with the assistance of Alan Weisselberg, inflated the value of his assets on his reporting to the banks, he got better interest rates on loans, interest being the amount you have to pay after you've paid back the whole loan. He would have got worse interest rates if his property was accurately measured. So that difference between the interest rates, that's what was stolen. Now, you could also argue there was theft from us in the form of the taxes that Donald Trump did not pay, because when it came to tax time, he shrunk the value of everything he owns. I haven't seen that, frankly, even addressed by all those involved with this, which tells you a hell of a lot about what we're dealing with here, where their priorities lie. But okay, frankly, Trump's loans were more Trump's assets were more exaggerated in value at loan time than they were shrank in value at tax time. So let's go with just what was stolen. Millions. Habitually. In an organized manner. He stole millions, Weisselberg did. How much? How much time would you do? Google somebody defrauding a small business for tens of thousands of dollars. Check out how much time they end up doing. Google somebody swiping credit card numbers. Check out how much time they end up doing. Credit card fraud as opposed to bank fraud. Or maybe it's both. Google that. They do years. Weisselberg? Well, we can't. Let's not pretend like he's one of the peasantry who's done something amiss. This is a gentleman. 5 months, only 5 months. Well, obviously, we're not going to make him serve the whole 5 months, just 3 months. Are his feet sore? Rub his feet. Rub his feet. Obviously, we're not barbarians. Rub his feet. Oh, he lied to us. Oh, he lied to us. Dear, dear. Well, it's not like a peasant's lie. It's a gentleman's lie. It's not like when one of those gross poors disrespects the court by not wearing a tie. Because they don't own one. Show up in a t-shirt because that's all they have. It's not as bad as that. He just knowingly lied to us to cover up a crime. And he's rich. So we're not that angry about it. Just give him another 5 months. He is 75 after all. Fuck Alan Weisselberg. Throw the book at him. Prosecutors, demand that. If the judge wants to show that they're a coward, if the judge wants to show that they're corrupt, let him. Let's not help him, though, prosecutors. Throw the book at him. I don't care if it's an unreasonable ask. I don't care if people gasp when you say, because of the seriousness of this crime, we want to bump it up. If it was a black guy stealing a candy bar, they would find the legal words to say it was something worse than it was. Because it is a white rich guy, let's be frank, because it was a rich guy who works for Trump, it was a guy that helps conservatives, they found a way to say this was the lightest thing it can possibly be. Let's hope he gets the full 5 months. I would encourage you, consider writing the DOJ. I'll put their contact information in the description. Consider writing the DOJ at their contact page. You can literally just type DOJ contact. Mention this case and mention the fact that you think Weisselberg was treated very gently considering the seriousness of his crimes. Mention the fact that you see it and you think you would have been treated different, and you don't think the DOJ gives a shit about you, because they don't. That might be helpful, but the most helpful thing you can do, what is currently in the description, is this simple suggestion. Tell Republicans about this. Make sure they know. This is a crime organization. There's a reason that they keep referring to Biden like that. It's because they know what's going to come to light. It's happening right now. Republicans know what's going to come to light. And it's happening right now. Trump has been running a crime organization. Not a very interesting one. He didn't have, a quiet person who's always standing in the background, who mows people down with a Tommy gun, gets in a shootout with the coppers. Nope. Just taking his privilege as one of the wealthy and using it to screw us over as much as he possibly can. Tell him about this. This guy lied. He lied for Trump because Trump is a criminal and this guy is in his criminal organization. Make sure Republicans are aware of that. So the next time they bring up the Biden crime family and you laugh in their face, get a little spittle on them for good measure. They understand at least a little bit more why that is. Let's see what the wicked community has to say. All right. Which domain? Let me type up. Ha! Wicked Foxy Dragon. Just type dojdonothing.ever.com. And then Pinkerbell saying, snatch up that domain and redirect it to WYCD. That's genius. I spent a month not being able to open my own email because I forgot to pay for my own domain. I can't do two. But if this thing ever becomes financially viable, that's the kind of nonsense I'd love to do because it's delightful. BC Clarity. Jake, I heart your pinko tie, utmost leftist of Michigan. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Donald James, I wouldn't even bother talking to somebody like that. Look, we're going to have to. I don't think the next election is necessarily dependent on it, if I'm honest. I think the next election is just us. It's going to be us versus a wave of the absolute dumbest idiots you can fathom. It's going to be idiots from all directions. It's going to be idiots who support Trump blindly. It's going to be idiots who support centrist Dems blindly. Believe it or not, they can be a problem too. It's going to be idiots from my side of the aisle who think they're helping but are not. And I'm working very hard to make sure I'm not one of them. But we can have conversations that are productive that I've seen with everybody except Republicans. So I don't blame you there, but we are going to have to eventually. I mean, a day will come where we're going to have to just sit down and talk to these people. The conversation may be forced on us. In the best case scenario, the Republican Party collapses at the end of this year. And then we've suddenly got an influx of Democrats who are not left at all, and an influx of independents who have a wild perception of how the world works. Either we convince them to start paying attention to reality, or they form a new party which wedges open the Overton window so that Democrats can keep looking reasonable while doing awful things. That's a slow death for America. That's a slow death for the world. It's on our to-do list. It's just not immediately around the corner. I'm just saying, get comfortable with the idea of having awkward conversations with people you think are not. Let's be polite and say, being honest. At a minimum, not being honest. Be somewhat less polite and say, are not all there. Are not actually having a conversation. Are basically doing nothing but repeating Tucker Carlson. BC Clarity Martin, the eve of Super Tuesday. Yes, and at the end of this, heads up, gang. Heads up, gang. At the end of this, I'm dumping this stream into the letter hack because he's interviewing John from San Antonio, and this is John's meat and potatoes right here, bread and butter. This is his. This is what he does. I can't wait to see it. So that is where I'm going after this, and I invite you all to join me. Well, Obsessive Audio, good to see you. Donald James X. Yeah, I'll have a discussion with somebody, but as soon as they go sideways, I'm done. I don't blame you. The point of discussions now, I think, is just to get better at having discussions. That's my only point. I think down the line, we will be in a position where we have to have at least some percentage of those discussions be productive. Right now, I don't expect anybody to convert anybody. It's mostly information gathering. But there is a chance we can take people who are on the fence and convince them at least to stay home until they know what the hell's going on. Because I have seen a shocking number of interviews where the folks who are blindly supporting Trump are not even prepared to lie about the things that have happened. As in, they had no knowledge of the events. They hadn't even been prepped to lie about them. Like, for example, discovering that Donald Trump sexually assaulted somebody. I've said the word enough that I think, I'm not a scared to say it, but let's not traumatize everybody. He did sexually assault somebody, though. That ought to be... Everybody should be aware of that. And yet I've seen many interviews where plenty are not. Maddening. We got another one here, folks. Oh, I have it loaded. Good. I gotta tell you, this is as much so I can get your feedback on the proposed solution. But I saw a group here that I think all of you might be intrigued by. I certainly am. Have a gander. The Tennessean reports that Republicans are happy to protect Nazis, Confederate scum, those types. But a pride flag, no. That they can't stand. Somebody proud just to be who they are, just to live their lives, that they can't stand. What they do really want to make sure they protect, though, is people who want to exterminate all non-whites. That, of course, that's a matter of free speech. Let's look at the article. This is from Becca Dryden, writing for the Tennessean. Tennessee lawmakers, it's an opinion piece, heads up, want to ban pride flags, but not Nazi ones. Doesn't make sense. I agree with Rebecca Dryden right out the gate. Won't surprise you to hear. Let's just get to it, actually. Yeah. Key points. Rebecca Dryden is a mother of 2 Metro Nashville Public Schools students. Over the past couple of weeks, we've watched this bill, HB 1605 and Senate Bill 1722, get rammed through committee without lawmakers being upfront about its intentions. Pause. Point this out about Republicans. Every single time they try to pass something like this, they gotta lie about it. How come they can't be honest about what they're doing? Because what they're doing is evil. It is the soul of evil. That's why. Because what they're doing is directly against the people. And if they were to be upfront about it, it would be a political tragedy for them. The Tennessee House of Representatives passed it on February 26th. I have watched legislators acknowledge its unconstitutionality, admit to not knowing its full implications, and attempt to dance around the reality of the bill. It's a bill created in search of a problem, and its real intentions are obvious for those willing to say it out loud. To be honest, I'm still not sure what problem the bill sets out to address. We have been told that this bill is about preventing indoctrination of school children. Okay, so piece of advice for Rebecca here. Be upfront about what you're talking about. Don't make me click on that link. Break the flow of your story, in this case an opinion piece, to read to the audience what you're talking about. That's poor writing. Define it up front. You're making detailed, but this is good for all of you to know. Don't assume that people know the context that you're talking about. Be brief, but give a summary. Here it is. The legislation, flags, as introduced, prohibits LEAs and public charter schools from displaying in public school flags other than the official United States flag and the official Tennessee state flag. Now we know. Properties. Hold on, I gotta refresh this now. Oh, you're breaking my heart here. Now I gotta load this back up. Tennessean, here we go. I hate everything. Oh, dear Lord. Stand by, gang. There we go. Indoctrination is defined as the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. The bill's sponsors have not provided any evidence or compelling arguments as to how the presence of a flag, a pride flag, as has been referenced many times, has led to any student's uncritical adoption of an LGBT identity. The mere existence of a flag on the wall does not in and of itself constitute indoctrination. What I believe the sponsors of this bill intend to prevent is more accurately called social representation, a means by which communication takes place among the members of a community by providing them with a code for social exchange and a code for naming and classifying unambiguously the various aspects of their world and their individual group in history. Are we okay with Nazi flags, but not pride flags? Here we go. On February 17th, we saw the symbolic purpose of a flag when white supremacists marched through downtown Nashville waving Nazi flags. I dare to assume that they did not convert any bar-hopping bachelorettes into Nazis, nor do I believe that was their intention. The presence of Nazi flags was to identify themselves as white supremacists. The Nazi flag is hateful imagery rooted in fascism, racism, homophobia, ableism, anti-Semitism, and evil. This group of small-minded out-of-towners chose to come to Nashville and wave Nazi flags because they desired to see a world with increased representation of Nazi ideals. I would ask all to consider why they chose this very city for their goal of furthering Nazi representation. Could it be because there is currently a bill, the one we are discussing today, that would allow Nazi flags to be flown in public schools? If this bill becomes law, should we expect to see more Nazi flags, Confederate flags, other flags rooted in violence and oppression? Those who seek to divide us will seek further social representation for their hatred. Now, wait a minute. I saw that all flags other than the Tennessee flag and the U.S. flag would be banned. Well, those flags would be allowed, this writer says. There is one flag that would be explicitly banned under this legislation. I see. The pride flag. Unlike symbols of fascist oppression, this flag was created in direct response to the hatred and violence of the Nazi regime. So here's the problem I see with the article. To me, it's unclear what's going on with this legislation. We're going to go back on that page. Go right back up to that bill. Let's look at the summary. From displaying any of its employees, a flag other than the following: the U.S. flag. Okay. Oh, 3, a flag that cannot be disturbed. Oh, there we go. Then here's the big list. So it's not just what they put in that summary. How interesting. There's other flags that are allowed. A flag that cannot be distributed or altered pursuant to the law relevant to Tennessee heritage protection. It's going to be Confederate scum, isn't it? The POW MIA flag. Fun fact, that actually got started based on a right-wing lie for fictitious POWs. A flag that represents an Indian tribe as defined in federal law. A flag that represents a city, county, a flag that represents any unit, branch, or other division of the armed forces. Why? You should not have military flags allowed to be in schools. That's nonsense. These are not military institutions. The current official flag, a flag that represents college or university, a flag that is displayed temporarily as part of a bona fide course curriculum, an official school flag, or the flag of an organization duly authorized to use a public school building. Oh. In other words, Republicans are at it again. Republicans are being confusing and sneaky. They're writing lengthy laws that are meant to do exactly what just happened. Throw me off, throw you off. So that you can have a flag that says, "I hate black people," flapping around in the wind outside of school. A little rebel flag right out there, making sure all black people feel unwelcome. But what you cannot do is hang a flag that tells gay people they are welcome. Because the Republican Party are just a bunch of bigots. They're bureaucratic bigots. They found a way here. They found a way here to bury their bigotry in boring paperwork, but it does not change what it is. What you can do is write your representative. Let's see if I still have it on the website, WYCDnetwork.com. Do I really not? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to put it in the chat. Find your representatives. You use this that I've just put in the chat. You can find your representatives. It'll be in the link. Excuse me. It'll be in the description. Find your representatives if you live in Tennessee. Tell them they better vote against this. No banning flags. Because the flags they want to ban just so happen to be the one that would thrill bigots the most. We're not a country of bigots. We're not a country that tolerates bigots. And I have an answer, by the way, for that question that was asked. Why did the Nazis march specifically in Nashville? There was a number of reasons. One of them might have been legislation that was going on. The other was that they didn't think that when they showed their faces in the street, people would come flooding out of the buildings to beat their asses. I haven't seen Nazis come wandering down my street. And I don't think I'll ever see it happen twice. Let's see what the Wicked community has to say. Donald James X, that's cool about your channel, Jake. Give us the links to at least write them. I did. Oh, that's what's cool about your channel, Jake. Oh, I see. Well, thank you. Yeah, I feel that that's sort of the purpose of. I think we should all be doing that. If we have channels that talk about what people can do. My biggest pet peeve is when I go to like an activist website and they're like, well, what can you do about this problem? Get involved. You're like, okay, how? And they're like, become part of the solution. Are you fucking with me right now? Like, it makes me crazy. So yeah, I try to provide the links, and thank you for liking it. That gives me energy. Mars Falcon, good to see you. Heard that Chuck's Beard only handled logistics on that. Oh, I've missed the context. Pinkerbell, there's so many schools that still use Confederate iconography today, right now. We should write them and tell them that they're bad people in the administration. BC Clarity says, rapist Nazis and white nationalists since 2017. Hashtag both-siderism is MAGA. Yeah, I agree. The anti-corporatists, if they were having his last wake and it was him versus Trump and he was being given last rites, I would still vote for Joe Biden, said Cuban during a visit to the White House. Oh my God, that's great. Obsessive Audio. Nazi scum, your time will come. By Oi Poloi. I dig it. Ooh, Jules tea with the honey. I dig it. The Baker's Dozen's cats. People sicken me. I'm glad I'm an introvert. Me too. Me too. But I'm almost an introvert by necessity because every time I try to have a conversation with multiple people at once, I literally, and this is why, by the way, one of the many reasons I recommend highly that it's both why I source all my work and recommend you look at the sources if you think something I say sounds off. Because I literally cannot keep in my head the information to successfully have multiple conversations. I do not know how people do that. Why have I done this? Where's my entire show? Folks, we might be ending early if I cannot find... Oh, there we go. We're back. doofa. Gang, it's Bo the fifth column. He did a good summary. But I got to set it up. You can see this screen for a minute. We got one from Bo the fifth column because he did a great job of breaking down the consequence to today's news. The big story. Trump will be allowed on the Colorado ballot. States are not allowed to kick him off of it. And you might be thinking, wait a minute. I thought states were in charge of their own elections. Apparently, the Supreme Court disagrees with you. Their reasoning is not totally wrong. Here is totally disagree. Here is totally agree. A lot of times, an issue's either right here or right here with your old pal Jake, but equally so, there's plenty of issues that wind up here. If this court, we're talking about a hypothetical, we're talking about not the people that elected him, appointed them, I should say, I might understand the reasoning and go with it. However, I have watched as every American institution has denied responsibility for dealing with this insurrection. We have found that the United States is woefully lacking in the ability to handle coup attempts. That means, especially as of this court decision today, we will have more. When Trump loses in November, it's entirely possible. But also a decade from now, when a Republican shocks us, because it turns out they have a couple of buddies who are generals, and they say, that race was close. And I know now Republicans are just this strange third party that only the real weirdos vote for, but we're going to try to take over with guns. That is something we're going to have to be fending off probably for the rest of our lives, because no U.S. institution so far has been willing to deal with the coup attempt. So even if we deal with it all tomorrow, the damage is done. In that regard, we should deal with it as soon as possible, because the damage will get worse every day that we don't throw this guy in prison. But denying Trump's candidacy based on a violation of the 14th Amendment, Supreme Court said that's a national rule. Congress has to decide it. Congress must declare. That's the new rule they added. Congress must declare that Trump tried a coup. Frankly, I'm going to throw this at you. In the long run, I'm okay with that. In the long run, I truly am. Because you know that 100% every right-wing governor would say, well, Trump tried a coup or Biden tried a coup by having a son. They don't need reasons. So, fair enough. But you know what? There's somebody who does a really good job of breaking down what happened. His name is Bo.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again.
Howdy, Bo.
So today we are going to talk about Trump and the Supreme Court of the United States and the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and the decision that came down dealing with Colorado and what its impacts are. Okay, so for those who need a little bit of a refresher, because again, there are a lot of legal entanglements involving the former President of the United States, this one deals with states, in this case Colorado, trying to use the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution to prohibit Trump from being on the ballot, because the 14th Amendment, a section of it, basically says that if you engage in insurrection, you don't get to hold office again. Short version. The Supreme Court said, no, that's not how this works. In a way, not really a surprise. We've talked about this for like a year. This was always viewed as a long shot. Now, interestingly enough, the reason the Supreme Court gave was pretty simple.
Reason being, Congress has to do it. But yes, as he said, it was always a long shot. My only point, don't let it get you down. Don't let it get you down. We knew for a long, long time that this was going to be a long shot. Probably wouldn't work, but it is nonetheless a good shot across the bow. However, I do ask you to do something. In the description, you will find the contact link for the Supreme Court. Contact them and get on them about the Trump immunity case. They may, if they keep getting away with decisions like this, they may decide, F it, let's just kill this whole country. Trump's immune. President's immune. Can't do anything wrong. Once you're president, laws don't apply to you. Contact them and say, you better rule that Trump does not have immunity from prosecution. Links in the description. We need to brace, because even though this was a long shot, this would have solved a hell of a lot of problems. So now we got to deal with the problems it would have solved. Trump cannot be given immunity simply because he once conned his way into office. He tried a coup in America. He must pay for that. Write the Supreme Court. Let him know. Who else wants to see John from San Antonio break down Super Tuesday Eve numbers? I can think of few things that would be better. But I don't have them. You know who does? No, it's not this guy either. No, it is the letter hack, and he's on now. I'll see you over there, gang. Enjoy this by Donald James playing us out.